Hello, I'm Teja Gerken with Peghead Nation, and I'm here with Martin's new D-28 2017. This is the latest version of the D-28 that Martin has come out with, and of course the D-28 is perhaps their most iconic instrument. It's certainly the blueprint for pretty much every dreadnought that's out there. Even though Martin has offered a lot of variations on the D-28 in recent years, whether it's in the vintage series, the golden era series, versions with cutaways or electronics, the standard series D-28 has been unchanged for a long time, and they've changed that this year with this 2017 edition, which offers some significant updates to the standard D-28. So the standard series D-28 has basically been based on what the D-28 morphed into after World War II, in that it didn't have the herringbone purfling anymore that pre-war D-28s had. They started using straight bracing rather than scallop bracing. It traditionally has had enclosed tuners, and some features like that basically have been left unchanged for many, many years on the standard series D-28, which of course has always been a guitar made with rosewood back and sides, and typically a Sitka spruce top in most recent years. So fundamentally, this D-28 2017 doesn't change the standard dreadnought design. It's still your Indian rosewood and Sitka spruce top standard dreadnought, but it's received a few tweaks that I think make it a very special guitar. As I mentioned, it's got a Sitka spruce top. You can tell it's a really beautiful piece of wood on this guitar, and Martin's used their H toner on this, so it's got a little bit of a darker shade than the natural wood would have. I think it's a beautiful look on this guitar, gives it a slight vintage appearance, and the same is true with the white binding, which rather than being the really bright white plastic that has been previously used on D-28s, uses what they call antiqued white binding, and I think it looks really good. It gives it a little bit of an aged appearance that I think works very well on this particular guitar. As is typical for D-28, there's no binding on the fingerboard. It's got an ebony fingerboard and bridge, which of course is part of the standard 28 style design. It's got the standard round dots as position markers in the fingerboard, white bridge pins. So really no surprises there in terms of the standard D-28 design. The guitar does use Martin's high-performance neck taper neck, so it's a much slimmer profile than a vintage D-28 would have had, or which most vintage reissue D-28s would have. Very comfortable profile. It's their modified low oval shape. It does have the volute on the back of the headstock, which is also traditional for a 28 style guitar. And the guitar has open geared Grover tuners rather than the enclosed tuners that most recent standard series D-28s have had. The guitar uses forward shifted bracing, which is another update that this particular guitar has over the previous D-28. It is non-scallop bracing, but the forward shifted design, which was the case with most vintage D-28s, does give it, I think, a slightly more open sound, perhaps a little bit more low end, and it's a feature that's been very popular, so I'm glad that they started doing that on this D-28 2017. The Indian rosewood used on this guitar is also really quite beautiful, nice kind of chocolate shading on this guitar, and it has the traditional marquetry center strip that divides the two book-matched halves of the top. Of course, the guitar is built with the traditional dovetail neck joint, as are all standard series Martin guitars, and it has a 1 3/4 inch nut width, which is slightly wider than most traditional D-28s have been, but it's something that has become increasingly popular with Martin dreadnoughts. And the string spacing at the saddle is 2 5/32 inches. So slightly different dimensions from most traditional D-28s, but something that a lot of contemporary players tend to prefer, to have a little bit more room both at the nut and at the saddle. Of course, the Martin D-28 is perhaps the traditional bluegrass guitar, so let's have Peghead Nation's Scott Nygaard play the guitar. One of the great things about a D-28 is that if you're going to have one guitar, a D-28 is likely to cover pretty much everything you need to do. And especially with a slightly wider neck, this guitar also is quite at home for fingerstyle playing. And I should also say, I didn't mention it before, but Martin has been using their Plek setup on these guitars, which is kind of an automated setup process that really takes a look at each individual guitar and puts it through the special Plek machine. And the setup on this guitar is really quite remarkable. It's very easy to play all throughout the neck. There's no fret buzz. It's got a nice sort of medium height action that's a good compromise for flat picking and playing fingerstyle. And it's really something that's noticeable. And so beautiful playing guitar all around. But let me play a little bit of fingerstyle on it. So very satisfying sound, played softly as well, and I could see using this guitar in a wide range of musical contexts, and that's really what a D-28 is about. You can use it to really strum hard, as I was doing in the intro to this video. You heard Scott playing more traditional flat picking styles on it. And it sounds great playing fingerstyle. So I think this D-28 2017 is really a worthy update to the standard series D-28. And it's a great guitar that's worth checking out, even if you think you know what a D-28 is like. So these are arriving at Martin dealers now. And I recommend you give them a strum. And please come and visit us again here at Peghead Nation for more of our gear demos. My name is Teja Gerken.